Let's start then. Good evening, everyone. Assalamu alaikum. Peace and blessings upon all of us. Welcome to our virtual event, celebration of Muslim American Appreciation and Awareness Month. My name is Fatih Atesh. I am with Pacifica Institute. As you may know that Pacifica Institute is a nonprofit organization that works around education, interfaith dialogue, and community building. Our works are inspired by the Hizmet service movement and inspired by Turkish Muslim scholar Fethullah Gülen. We'd also like to thank sincerely our sponsor of this event, which includes Bay Area Cultural Connections, Islamic Networks Group, and Commissioner Hala Hijazi. Our program will be opening with an Islamic prayer and continue remarks from elected officials and continue reflections from faith and civic leaders. Today we celebrate 6th year of anniversary of Muslim Appreciation and Awareness Month. Since 2016, Muslim Appreciation and Awareness Month has been recognized by the California State Legislature and by 18 local cities and counties. I am grateful to Assembly Member Bill Quirk for introducing and other 61 Assembly members co-authored this resolution at California State Assembly. I will be sharing some portions of the resolution with you all tonight. I am also so grateful to Sister Moina Sheikh to initiate this effort and reach out to Assembly Member Quirk and other Muslim groups. Now, I am honored to invite Imam Rushdan Mujahideen at Masjid Bilal Islamic Center from Los Angeles to give opening prayer. Welcome, brother and Imam Rushdan. Floor is yours.
Surah Fatiha, the first surah of the Quran. I read it in Arabic, then I'll also translate it into English for our audience. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Ar-Rahmanir Rahim. Maliki Yawmiddin. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. Amen. In the name of God, the merciful benefactor, the merciful redeemer, the praises for God, Lord and keeper of all the worlds, the merciful benefactor, the merciful redeemer, sole master of the day of judgment. You alone do we worship, and you alone do we seek for assistance. Show us the straight way of those whom you have bestowed your favor, those whose portion is not wrath, and who go not astray. Amen.
Thank you, Imam Rushdan.
Welcome.
It is the opening prayer from the Holy Quran. Thank you. As the resolution mentioned, there are currently more than 240 mosques and Islamic centers in California, more than any other state in the nation. And the people of California and the greater United States benefit from the several large Muslim religious, educational, charitable, advocacy, and empowerment organizations that operate within the state, as well as from the countless prominent Muslim community leaders who distinguish themselves professionally as business owners, law professionals, doctors, engineers, teachers, and farmers, among numerous other professions. So I am so very pleased to welcome and introduce one of the Muslim community leader, sister, and colleague, Commissioner Hala Hijazi, serves in San Francisco Human Rights Commission and San Francisco Interfaith Council. She will welcome and introduce our elected officials. Welcome, Sister Hala, floor is yours.
Thank you, brother. Assalamu alaikum, everybody. I wanted to say a few words about Fatih. You're amazing and kind and such a big heart. You always remind me of this hadith. When someone asked Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, what are the best Islamic traits? And he said, feed the people and greet those whom you know and you don't know. And you've done both. You have been relentless in organizing so many of us from across different faiths, from different walks of life, because you really want, because your heart and your soul want to connect, want to bring cause bridges, and you want us to be all to work for the common good and walk in faith and walk in action. So Fatih, I just want to take a minute to just say thank you for your leadership and support. I speak on everybody who has just been touched by your hard work and effort. And I also want to thank CARE, Council on Islamic Relations, because they actually the ones that drafted this resolution. And so one of the reasons that we are here because of their work on behalf of the community. So I just want to acknowledge CARE for their leadership. So we want to hear from our elected officials. I just have a quick introductions because I want to hear from them directly. First, our beloved Assembly member, Bill Cork, who was elected in November 2012 to represent the 20th Assembly District, which consists of Hayward, Union City, Castro Valley, San Lorenzo, Ashland, Sherryland, Hayward Acres, Fairview, Sunol, and North Fremont. Before being elected to the Assembly, Assemblyman Cork worked as a climate change scientist at NASA before beginning his career at the Lawrence Livermore National Lab. And in 2016, Assemblyman Cork also introduced the Muslim Appreciation Awareness Month, which has been acknowledged everywhere. I just want to say, Assemblyman, thank you so much for stepping up. Thank you so much for your leadership and support. Even though I'm in San Francisco, I hear about you from all over the Bay Area, but especially amongst the Muslim and Arab community. You have always showed up. You have always been accessible and lend a hand. So for that, we are honored to have you here today. The floor is yours.
Okay, let me.
There we go. So good evening, everyone. It's a real pleasure to see you. So I was elected to Hayward City Council in 2004. And that's the first time I got to know Muslims because when I was elected, I joined the committee, which eventually became the Hayward Ghazni Afghanistan Sister City Committee. What I learned is that Muslims are just like everyone else. They want a good life for their family. They want to just get through life and live life. And there was nothing different from a Muslim or a Christian or agnostic, anyone who was a member of the community. We all want the same things. While I was on Hayward City Council, I actually got a chance to meet Moyna's husband, who had a wonderful development in front of us, and I voted for it. Unfortunately, it didn't go forward. But that was the first time I got to meet the Sheikh family. Later on, I got to know Moyna, and she discussed with me concerns about the Muslim community. And believe me, ever since 9/11 in 2001, there's been tremendous persecution of the Muslim community here in the US. I want to give Moyna a lot of credit for simply allowing people to meet Muslims. She had her meet a Muslim program. People would come to greet her, see her, and just get to meet Muslims and see that they're just like everybody else. She suggested to me that there be a Muslim Appreciation Month. And I work with my staff, and we didn't think much of it. I mean, there are months to appreciate the Sheikh community, the Sikh community rather, and the other groups, just one after another. And I thought, oh, well, that's nice. Yeah, we'll do that. Later on, when I introduced HR 43 to designate August as Muslim American Appreciation Month, I found out that it wasn't such a simple thing. I introduced it in the midst of the Trump administration pushing forward a Muslim ban and spreading lies about the Muslim community. I received death threats about my decision to introduce the resolution. But, you know, it was the right thing to do. And I didn't even think much of it when I started it. What I learned was that it meant a lot to the Muslim community. And frankly, you know, a lot of resolutions get introduced in Sacramento. There's, you know, Fun in the Sun Month and then more serious things like we'll recognize a group that has done great work. We've recognized Nobel Prize winners here in California. But this was something special because it meant so much to so many different people. I just never expected the impact it would have. We were able to, by the way, also invite leaders to the Capitol to join us for special recognition. We had, in 2017, we had Judge Aline Darandina, the first Muslim American judge to be appointed to a California court. In 2018, I had my good friend and young man, Aziz Akbari, a member of the Alameda County Waste Management District Board, is the youngest American Muslim to ever be elected to public office in the country, and pretty young period, at age 26, I believe. In 2019, we had Mokhtar Al-Kanshali, founder of the port of Makta, credited with reviving an ancient tradition in Yemen and providing coffee growers with tools they need to be successful farmers. In 2020, we had a small district event. Obviously, not a lot was going on in the Capitol. And I had the privilege of honoring Moina Sheikh, Samina Usman of the Bay Area chapter of the Council on American Islamic Relations, and also honoring the Bay Area chapter of the Council on Islamic Relations. CARE is the equivalent of the NAACP for Muslim Americans, and their mission is not often appreciated, but extremely important. Samina has always been there with me, always honoring, well, frankly, being my good friend. And Moina, most of all, because she introduced me to so much in the Muslim community, and it was her idea to move forward with this. Frankly, one of the greatest honors I've ever received was from CARE when they honored me as their Legislator of the Year. So I've honored others as well, even before doing this in 2014. I honored the Afghanistan restaurant in Fremont as my small business of the year. It goes without saying that the American Muslim community has made tremendous contributions to media, arts, entertainment, theater, film, in California and beyond, Nobel Prize winners. I never expected that I would do something, frankly, as significant as this when I got elected. I'm just very proud to have done so, and want to thank everyone else for their appreciation of what I have done, and thank you very much for my friends in the Muslim community. I'll never forget you.
Thank you so much, Assemblyman. We're so grateful for your support, and we're also humbled by it. And we got your back. So thank you so much. I am so excited right now to introduce my dear friend, my little sister, my mentee. Now I'm honored to call her not just council member, but she's also the most recent mayor pro tempore for the city of Hayward. She has been phenomenal. I've known her when people are like, Hala, you don't know Aisha, she's not gonna win. I was like, oh yeah, okay. This woman just came on fire, and she has done such a magnificent job in the community, really representing all of us, whether you're Muslim, Arab, Jewish, Afghan, Filipina, name it. She has been on the front lines for decades, but really stepped up as a public servant, as an elected official. And just recently, just the past 2 days, made us so proud nationally, not only because she's the first elected Afghan woman in the country, Afghan period, but also woman on CNN's Jake Tapper. But she really has pulled up her sleeves and rolled up her sleeves and really has gone above and beyond, not just representing San Francisco, but us nationally when it comes to equity, when it comes to housing, when it comes to issues of homelessness, when it comes to mental health, you name it. She has been knocking on doors and really speaking truth to power, but also just having a strong representation. I cannot wait to see what she does next. Our dear sister Aisha Wahab, Mayor Pro Tempore.
Thank you. One, I just want to say I'm incredibly honored to be here. It's incredibly important to honor our differences, our backgrounds, and highlight the beauty that makes us different. Because by honoring each other's differences, we know that we also come together. We understand each other more. We value each other. We respect each other, and that is one of the reasons why Muslim Appreciation Month, it was so vital and is so vital to the larger community. It is not just important to the Muslim community, but important to all others to recognize us and respect us. So I genuinely want to thank Assemblymember Quirk for that initiative. I will say that it's incredibly hard to speak out for a group that, is largely vilified in the media in so many different ways, right? I also want to just share a little bit of a story. I am ethnically Afghan. I'm a very proud Afghan American born in New York City. My family came as refugees, no different from the stories we're hearing today, decades later. My father's life was cut short in New York City, and I ended up in the foster care system. After many, many years in the foster care system and very much removed from my roots, living with, different foster homes and going to church and much more, eventually when I was adopted, I was able to kind of understand my background a little bit more. And I want to highlight Hala Hijazi in particular. Maybe a decade ago, I saw Hala she was presenting on a panel, and I have never seen a woman that looks like Hala, looks similar to me, be able to represent. It was a panel at Emerge, California years ago. And I remember as she was leaving, I approached her in the middle of the hallway and was just so proud of the work that she's done as a fundraiser for, the Clintons, the Obamas, you name it. I've never seen anybody that looks like her in this space with a name like Hala Hijazi. So, there are individuals that really are chipping away at that glass ceiling more and more. And we are a network. We are one community. Moina Sheikh and I actually served together on the Human Relations Commission of Alameda County. I served as the chair, and Moina was very much pushing at this moment in time the Muslim Appreciation Month resolution as well. She was passing it around. I saw the first glimpse before it was actually recognized, added content and, talked about it a little bit. And even Samina from CARE. These are individuals that have been working at this for years, right? Working to elevate a community, working to acknowledge the respect that we all deserve. And that is the beauty of the United States. That is the beauty of being an American, is that we all come from different backgrounds, right? And at the end of the day, we come together and do what's right for all of us. So I'm just so proud to be here, so proud to be just one of so many advocates that really work hard every day, put themselves out there. To, Assemblymember Quirk's comments about, we get a lot of nasty emails, we get death threats, we get, comments that are unfair to us, and we do it because we know we have to, and other people depend on us, and we are a little bit more bolder and speak out, but we also put ourselves, make ourselves a target. So I give kudos to everybody that stands with us. And I genuinely just respect all the efforts that everybody makes, and we have to continue to work together to move forward as one community. So thank you.
Let me just say, I knew she would get elected because she worked harder than anyone else. And I'm very proud to have endorsed her early on in her efforts for Hayward City Council. And she's grown a lot. She's pretty young when she's elected and has become, as I talk to my fellow members of the Hayward City Council, they tell me how she's grown, how she's really understood the institution. So thank you, Aisha, for being willing to serve.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us today and for honoring us. We're so grateful for your support. Please reach out to us. As you know, we will be reaching out to you guys soon for something or the other, especially supporting our community events and our community-based organizations. God bless you, and thank you for making the time this evening. I'm going to turn it over back to Fatih.
Thank you, Commissioner Hala Hijazi. I appreciate that. Thank you, Assembly Member Bill Quick, and thank you, Council Member Aisha Wahab. So wonderful to have you here and your leadership. So Muslim Americans within California and throughout the nation strive to promote peace and understanding between all faiths, identities, and nationalities. I have great colleagues and friends today. We work together for interfaith and intra-faith dialogue. First, I would like to invite Rabbi Jonathan Singer from Congregation Emmanuel, San Francisco. Welcome, Rabbi Singer.
Well, it's so good to be here with you and with this diverse, beautiful Muslim community of the state and of the nation. We're coming into the Jewish New Year, and I want to wish Shana Tovah, a sweet year, a year of blessing for all of us, for the Muslim community as we celebrate Muslim achievement and contribution to this country. And in this time of challenge, where I pray that we have more Muslims come to America, as we bring Afghanis who should and deserve and earn the right to be here in safety to come be with us, I want to just also then celebrate the good and the blessing. And how do you celebrate the good and blessing of such a big, diverse community? I think about when I was first a rabbi in Seattle and I was connected to the mosque, the Northgate Mosque. And I have a fear of flying, which is a strange thing when you're a rabbi in Seattle, where Boeing's headquartered. And members of the mosque took me aside and explained to me how they are the ones who developed the safety systems on the Boeing planes. And when you think about that great intellect and achievement and technological achievement in America, one of our leading industries has been dependent upon Muslim Americans and engineers who have immigrated here and contributed in this way. But I did want to just for a moment talk about my day today. I went to the synagogue and I talked to my daughter, Rena, who is a rabbi in Chicago. And when she was born, and we rushed late to the hospital and had to be worried, my wife is a rabbi too, we worked together. Who brought us in as the first person to work with us, the nurse orderly, was a Muslim American helping two rabbis and a little to know, we know a rabbi to be, bring her into the world. Then I went to the synagogue and I did a bar mitzvah rehearsal, and the young man talked about Maimonides, Rambam, and his idea of the great intellectual idea that helps me be a rabbi today as a spiritual rationalist. And Rambam reintroduced Aristotle into Judaism and taught Aristotle. But he learned Aristotle in the Islamic world. If it weren't for his experience in Egypt, finding safety there, we wouldn't have this great intellectual tradition. And Judaism is indebted, I believe, to Islam for that reconnection and helping bring it back to the world. So the great intellectual contributions that make our religion meaningful today, I tell my members, comes from fellow Muslims. And then my day ended and I came home and I had to leave early because my wife had to have emergency surgery to remove a tumor. And the doctor who helped her recover is a Muslim American here in San Francisco. So I want us to celebrate the contributions of this amazing, intellectual, creative, diverse community of beauty. May we seek peace and pursue it. May we together show a better pathway forward. As the speaker before said, we can do it. And you are a community of blessing. Shana Tova, sweet year, not just sweet month, sweet year. Amen.
Rabbi Singer, thank you very much. It is an honor to have you, and sending blessings and the speed recovery, Rabbi Bat Singer. And you are my hero, Rabbi Singer. Let me tell you why. In 2016, and you were the one Jewish and the rabbi that I know, you went to San Francisco airport and you did live stream and you said, here I am, and I am against the Muslim ban. Thank you, Rabbi Jonathan.
The right thing to do. Thank you.
I appreciate it.
God bless you all. Sorry that I have to leave, everyone.
Thank you, Rabbi Singer. So it's my honor to welcome and to introduce Pastor Susan Strauss from Lutheran Church of the Good Shepherd in Burlingame. Welcome, Susan.
Thank you. And thank you, everybody, for being here. It really is an honor to be here in this esteemed company. And it's humbling also to be here as a representative of Christianity, because we're very aware that too often Christianity has been a source of misinformation and non-appreciation of Muslims. Well, I shouldn't say Christianity, because I don't believe that Jesus would have said anything misinformation or non-appreciation. But all too often, adherents of Christianity have done that. And there are many people who see interfaith engagement as a threat somehow, that it might somehow threaten their religion. But I have found that in learning about and appreciating other religions, that I've actually learned more about my own, as well as making a lot of really wonderful, wonderful friends. And what I believe about being involved in interfaith work is that each group brings a gift to the table. Everybody brings a gift, and we all get to share in that gift. And none of our gifts is depleted in any way. In fact, they're magnified. And I treasure the gifts that my Muslim siblings have brought and how they impact my own practices. Krister Stendahl, who was the bishop of the Church of Sweden back in the 1980s, invented the phrase holy envy as part of his 3 rules for religious understanding. He said, 1, when you want to learn about another religion, ask its adherents, not its enemies. Secondly, don't compare your best to their worst. And 3, he said, leave room for holy envy. Now that might sound strange if you know the 7 deadly sins. The envy is one of them. You would think that would not be a good word for a bishop to be promoting, but what he meant by it, by putting holy in front of it, he actually turned a sin into a gift. Holy envy is recognizing elements in another religious tradition that you admire and you wish that in some way could be reflected in your own. And I would say that as I've learned and I've met the good folks at Pacifica Institute and all of the other wonderful organizations that I've been able to work with over these years, that I've also come to a holy envy as well as holy admiration. And I'll just name 3 things very quickly. One is the Muslim discipline of prayer. Now, we have some of the same practices in Christianity, the daily offices of praying at certain times during the day, but it's not widespread. It's not a widespread thing. And I've been so impressed when I've been in a planning meeting with Fatih and some of the other folks at Pacifica, and they will stop and leave the room and go to do their prayers. And I'm so impressed by that and wondering how we might incorporate that kind of discipline in our own practice. So I'm in holy admiration of that. And then the idea of fasting. We also have that in Christianity, but I have learned from my Muslim brothers and sisters the depth of what it means to them in a spiritual sense. I remember so well a Muslim friend of mine came to speak at my church about it, and as she described what it meant to her to long for Ramadan, to long for the experience of fasting. And I have never forgotten that. And of course, during Lent, Christians have our own time of supposedly fasting, but I think we could learn a whole lot from our Muslim siblings about what that really can mean to us. And then the other wonderful holy admiration I have is for our study of our sacred texts, that when our little group of Christians, Jews, and Muslims get together and we have a topic that we're going to talk about that night and readings from each of our sacred texts. And then we exchange ideas and we ask questions and we learn from each other. We question each other and we see what's similar. We see what's different. And it's just an enlightening experience. And I'm in I guess that's not so much holy envy because I get to be part of that, but it's one of the things that I have most appreciated in my relationships with the Muslim community. And of course, we're approaching the 20th anniversary of 9/11. And in this time of trial with the situation in Afghanistan, we have got to stand with the Muslim community. And I think Christians have a special calling to stand with our Muslim siblings and say, we're with you. We are with you. I'm with you. My congregation is with you. And peace and blessings to you all. Thank you again.
I appreciate Pastor Susan. I am so honored and glad to know you and your community as well. I see the Jesus love on you and your work. And Isa alayhi salam. Thank you. So I would like to invite the Imam Rushdan Mujahideen from Masjid Bilal of Los Angeles to give his reflection. Imam.
Assalamu alaikum. Peace be upon you all. Thank you, Fatih, for this opportunity to share a reflection. Just to chime in on Susan Strauss, Reverend Susan Strauss, in her comments. You know, in the early beginnings of Islam, when the Muslims were faced with persecution by their own people in Mecca, Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, instructed his companions or his followers to make a migration to Abyssinia, to Ethiopia, modern day, because he had heard of a just Christian leader. So he instructed his followers to go there to seek asylum. And in the waiting period to have their asylum granted, the Meccan enemies pursued them, went to Abyssinia to try to get the Christian ruler to send them back. Christian ruler, the Negus, he invited them, the Muslims, who were held in camp, to share with them their faith, ethics of their faith. And one of the followers, just the average person, he wasn't a scholar, He wasn't an imam. He was just a common believer, a believer in God. And he shared with them the beliefs of Muslims. And after the conversation, the Christian ruler, he said, what you believe, he drew a line in the sand. He said, what you believe and what we believe is no difference. And he granted them asylum, and he ran the Meccans out of town. So what we believe, what is it that we believe? The prophet was asked, what is Islam? It is to believe in God, to bear witness that there's only one God, to believe in, to practice prayer, to give in charity, and to fast. And these are all beliefs of Christians. These are all beliefs of Jews. These are all beliefs of people of the book. So when you speak about holy envy, holy admiration, we share that with people of the book, with Jews and with Christians. So we are also envy of you. We also hold you in deep admiration in our hearts for giving us, in the early days of Islam and throughout history, giving us your love, giving us your friendship. I thank you, Fatih, and I thank all of our guests for this opportunity to share with you and to listen to you. Assalamu alaikum.
Fatih, this is-
Very well said. Assembly member?
Yes, I just wanted to recognize, as we recognize various religious leaders, to recognize Ash Kalra, the first Hindu American elected to our legislature, who has jointly sponsored with me my resolution on Muslim American Month, and to the many Hindus who are in support of the Afghan and the, as has been mentioned, which is the Afghan community, which is having such grief now, as well as the Muslim community as a whole. And just very proud to be in a country where we could all recognize our differences and the great things that we have in common. So thank you to the Hindu community here in America as well.
Thank you, Assembly Member Kirk. It's important. So it, as the resolution states, the United States benefits greatly from the expertise, patriotism, and humanitarianism of Muslim Americans, but especially for Muslim physicians, who represent about 10% of the America's physicians, helping to heal hundreds of thousands of Americans each year. And they play a critical role in this pandemic as well. So one of this hero is a good friend and colleague, a Muslim physician, Dr. Ijaz Naqvi, with us. Dr. Ijaz and I serve at Shia-Sunni Dialogue Committee here in Northern California. So I'm honored to say friend and a colleague, Dr. Ijaz, welcome.
Thank you, Brother Fatih, for inviting me. And assalamu alaikum, greeting of peace. May I, before I talk about the Muslim physician contribution, may I just add one thing to the beautiful story that Imam was quoting. So this was the cousin of Prophet Muhammad in the palace of the Christian ruler Negus. What brought Negus to tears was when he asked, what does Islam say about Mary, the mother of Jesus, and Jesus? So he started quoted verses from Surah Maryam, which is named after Mary, the only chapter in the Quran that is actually named after a woman. And that's what brought Negus to tears when he started talking about the birth of Jesus, when Jesus spoke from the cradle. So I thought I just could not resist the temptation of just mentioning that. But let's just go back to why Brother Fatih invited me,
Thank you for that.
Thank you. And so the contributions of the Muslim physicians. So at an individual level, as well as at a community level and at an organizational level. By the way, let me ask you, how many of you have received the COVID vaccination? Raise your hand. Okay, I'm glad I see a lot of hands. The odds are that you may have gotten the Pfizer vaccine, which is an mRNA vaccine. But did you know that the founder of the BioNTech, which is the German company, is a Turkish Muslim? And his name is Dr. Ugur Sahin, and his wife, Dr. Özlem Tucheri. They are the co-founders of this company that started to work on the vaccine, along with Pfizer, of course, and that resulted in saving a lot of lives. So kudos to my Turkish brother. And I know that's making you, Brother Fatih, very, very proud, since you share some roots with him, and it's actually his wife as well. Just a local level, I'm a Kaiser preventive physician. My specialty is pain management. I'm also the director of graduate medical education. I work with medical students and medical residents, basically preparing the doctors of the future, if you will. There's a good chance that if your kid has to go see a pediatrician, there's a Muslim pediatrician. Or if your wife or yourself, if you have to see a gynecologist, it will be a Muslim gynecologist. Or just a regular primary care physician. There's a very good chance that it's a Muslim physician. That at an organizational level, you will find a lot of physicians who are in a leadership role. So, for example, the chief of nephrology is a Muslim physician. The chief of pain physician actually happens to be myself. But there are other physicians in the leadership role, both at the county level. Dr. Lubna Hasnan, for example, she is the president of the American, the Alameda Contra Costa County Medical Association. And we play a very key role in many aspects of California Medical Association, as well as JAMA, or the American Medical Association. There are a couple of three medical organizations that I like to mention. There are many others, but for example, one of them is APNA, APPNA, which is the Association of Physicians of Pakistani Descent of North America. And the other one is the Islamic Medical Association of North America, or IMANA. IMANA has a medical relief arm called IMR, or the IMANA Medical Relief. And we're involved with medical relief, no matter where the disaster is, including the earthquake in Haiti, the floods in Houston, the Katrina, et cetera, we are there. The Northern California chapter of APNA, we are involved with a lot of the community outreach. We have a free clinic in San Jose, for example, another one in Vallejo. And the list goes on and on. I would also like to mention one other individual. He was not a physician. His name is Mir Imran. If you don't know him, Google him. I guarantee you, you will come away impressed. He is a pioneer and a serial entrepreneur. He has established a number of medical technology companies. He was the inventor of the implantable cardiac defibrillator, which has saved many lives. You may have seen some of these placed at many airports, for example. So he has done a number of, he has invented a lot of medical devices. One of them also happens to be what we call, what they're calling it, Rani pills. He's now the founder of this company called Rani Therapeutics. Basically what it is, if you're taking insulin, a lot of people don't like injecting insulin. But this innovative technique, he's developing a pill that you can swallow. It has micro injectors that inject insulin or similar chemicals that are otherwise only deliverable by injections. And I'm very proud of associating myself with him. He has more than 400 US patents. And I have some sense of personal pride, as well as he happens to be my sister-in-law's cousin. So I'm going to take some credit for that. But I guess, like I said, the list goes on and on. I could spend honestly the entire hour, but in the interest of time, I'll stop here. And thank you once again for letting me be part of this very distinguished list of guests.
Dr. Hijaz, so honored to have you. Thank you, and God bless you, and God bless your work. and we'll continue to work with you at the Shia Sunni Dialogue Group as well. So now it is a time to hear from wonderful Muslim organization who tirelessly works around education, advocacy, human rights, and the civic engagement. First, I am very pleased to welcome and introduce dear sister Tabassum Halim, CEO at Islamic Networks Group. Welcome, Tabassum.
Thank you. Thank you. Peace be upon all of you. Assalamu alaikum. I would like to express my gratitude to Pacifica Institute for inviting me to speak with you all this evening to celebrate Muslim American Appreciation and Awareness Month. As Muslims, we appreciate the role of religion in helping us live life with a higher purpose, to answer the call to care for our fellow human beings and to be good stewards of our planet. We strive to fulfill this purpose in solidarity and partnership with all Americans, especially those individuals and communities whose voices, contributions, and needs are often ignored or marginalized. Muslims were present in the United States prior to its formation. Scholars estimate that 10 to 30% of enslaved Africans were Muslim, mainly from West Africa. Like all Americans, with the exception of Native Americans and enslaved Africans, Muslim Americans initially immigrated to the US from different parts of the world, including Africa, the Middle East, Asia, and Europe. Today, there are about 6 million Muslim Americans, including highly educated professionals such as doctors, lawyers, engineers, and academics, who make up part of the fabric of this nation. Black Muslim Americans, such as Malcolm X and Muhammad Ali, contributed to the civil rights movement in the 1960s, while many others continue to be voices of courage and conscience for the nation. In recent years, Muslim Americans have been elected to serve in public office, including the ones that are present here today, and also including Congresswoman Ilhan Omar from Minnesota and Rashida Tlaib from Michigan. Muslim voices are beginning to be heard in mainstream media, such as columnist Wajahat Ali and MSNBC's Mehdi Hassan. Muslims have also been celebrated for their contributions to the arts and culture, including actor Mahershala Ali, who recently won 2 Academy Awards for Best Supporting Actor. It's our firm belief that we, as local communities and as a nation, can work through our challenges to continue to build a better future through education and engagement, which are central to our mission at Islamic Networks Group, or ING. For the last 29 years, ING has offered thousands of presentations, training seminars, workshops, Islamic, interreligious, and intercultural panels and discussions in schools, colleges, and universities, law enforcement agencies, corporations, healthcare facilities, and community organizations. We have seen and measured the impact these face-to-face and now virtual presentations have had on helping to dispel stereotypes and common misconceptions about Islam and Muslims, as well as other misunderstood religious, racial, and ethnic groups. To learn more about and contribute to our peace-building efforts through education and engagement, please visit. For those of you who are not aware already, please visit ing.org. We are excited about continuing this work into the future, which we do in partnership with groups like Pacifica and our affiliates, schools, professional organizations, and local communities across the nation. Thank you again so much for inviting me to speak with you this evening and be among such distinguished panelists and speakers, and to acknowledge and celebrate Muslim American contributions to our nation. Thank you so much.
Thank you, and the Maha and the other wonderful people at ING working tirelessly and spreading peace through face-to-face education, Tabassum. So I appreciate it. So it's my distinguished and my honor to welcome dear sister, Samina Usman. She's a senior government relations coordinator at Council on American Islamic Relations, San Francisco Bay Area office. Welcome, Samina.
Thank you so much, Brother Fatih, and thank you to Pacifica Institute and the other organizations, ING and others who planned this event. I think that it's a beautiful way in order to amplify this incredible month sponsored by Assembly Member Bill Quirk. It's interesting. He was saying that he didn't realize like how much of an impact this would be, even for me, even though this is such an incredible, important recognition of American Muslims. Even I didn't realize how much of an impact it would have on Muslim communities around the state, and how this month has really transformed from a resolution that's passed by the state of California, but to be also recognized in multiple cities across the state. And so I remember, then San Jose Council Member Ash Kalra had come to me and said, hey, let's amplify this month, and let's introduce a proclamation in honor of this month at the San Jose City Council. And I'm like, hey, that's a really great idea. Let's do that. And then from there, it actually grew, because then the city of Santa Clara is like, hey, we want to do this too. And then I think just in the Bay Area alone, 18 different cities and counties, and even the Santa Clara Unified School District wanted to amplify this month. And then we also have different recognitions in Southern California, LA, Sacramento as well, who saw that this was an opportunity to stand in solidarity with the Muslim community, to recognize the achievements and all of the things that American Muslims bring to the community. When we have these individual proclamations that are passed at different city councils, to see the numbers of Muslims coming out to celebrate this as well. I think in San Ramon, there must have been about 150 to 200 people who came out with their families, with their children, to say, hey, look, the city of San Ramon is recognizing the Muslim community. And I wish that we had something like this when I was growing up. Because when I was growing up, it was at a time, actually, I think I was I was the only Muslim in my school. And it was coming around the time of Desert Storm. You saw a lot of Islamophobia. It was a difficult time. And I can only imagine how it must be like for lots of children who are facing Islamophobic attacks or school bullying. We've seen that, and please forgive me for misquoting the numbers. I'm terrible with with that. But every other year, we put on a study asking American Muslim students what their experiences are in school. And we found that 55% of Muslim students have reported that they were bullied. And about, I believe it was 38% of them said that they were bullied by their teachers. Now that is shocking. That is shocking, and that's incredibly disturbing to hear that Muslim students are experiencing this. And the numbers are not too far away from actually the Sikh community as well, because they put a similar study, and I think they said around 50% of Sikh students had experienced some type of bullying. So to have these type of recognitions, it does truly mean a lot to individual Muslims to see that you have elected officials who represent, the state of California, want to amplify the good works of the American Muslim community. Now, again, oftentimes people think, Muslims came, in the past, century or something like that. But I mean, we have Muslims that have been here even before the start of even this country, and helped build this country to what it is today. And that does need to be recognized. And I really loved, I'm so happy to have heard from so many of the speakers today who brought up these incredible achievements. And I feel like, and I'm also so thankful to hear from our interfaith partners as well, because I think, we are only truly stronger together. And when we work together and when we, find the common good between all of us, that is how we become stronger. And I remember, so one of the people was mentioning about how they had come out for the rallies at the airport. When I went for those rallies in protest of the then president, or who wanted to shut down and stop Muslims from coming into this country by implementing the Muslim ban, to see the thousands and thousands of people at SFO, that honestly, every single time I see footage of that, it brings tears to my eyes, to see the solidarity between, people from all different faith backgrounds and all, different ethnicities, to stand up, to make a principled stance in defense and of the Muslim community, and to stand up for what is right. And so that always warms my heart every single time I think that. And I am glad that I'm here today with such partners as well. And so I want to again thank Assemblymember Bill Quirk for bringing this up, and thanks Sister Moina, who, and it goes to show, having these type of relationships and friendships and really nurturing this can bring upon such beautiful things, such beautiful outcomes. And so I really appreciate Sister Moina Sheikh's leadership and her vision as well. So thank you again for inviting me to speak. I look forward to this month every single year and celebrating together. So thank you.
Sister Samina, thank you for your leadership and your efforts to promoting Muslim Awareness and Appreciation Month throughout the California. And because of you, we were able to celebrate this. Thank you, Sister Samina. And thank you to you and the good people and good friends at CARE, standing always for the human rights and democracy and rule of law. So,
Brother Fatih, if I could just say one quick thing. So we are celebrating the Muslim awareness, but just looking at the lineup, I know the Bay Area, it's more like Muslim women. If I'm looking at you, Samina, and then you have Tabassum, you have Maha, you have Zara Billu, you have Hala, you have Aisha Wahab, and the list goes on Farhana Khara, Moina Shaikh. So, my kudos to all of you ladies. So, it's special thanks to you.
okay, so are you saying that we need to empower us as men, or what? Okay, all right. Okay, thank you, brother. That's good point, by the way. Okay, so I'm so great to have Brother Salam Al-Mariyati. I think he would be one of the best person to summarize the meaning of this tonight. That's why we have him here. So Brother Salam, he is the president of the Muslim Public Affairs Council, Los Angeles. Brother Salam, floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Fatih. Thank you, everybody. It's an amazing group. I'm very honored to be among distinguished leaders for our state and for our country. As we're talking about appreciating the achievements and contributions of American Muslims, I think we have to pause and ask ourselves, what does it mean to be an American Muslim today? Because we're only 1%. As Muslims, we are 1% of the American population. And as Americans, we're less than 1% of the Muslim Ummah, the Muslim community worldwide. So we are a fraction of a fraction, but we are also the most critical component in bringing peace to this world, in bringing peace for America. And we have to celebrate our American identity as we are talking about our own achievements. In the founding charters of our country, it talks about we the people. We talk about one nation under God. And returning to those principles is paramount for America to find its strength once again, to return to its essence and its values of e pluribus unum, of a beacon of hope and democracy for the world. And when we ask ourselves, then how can we contribute to that? I think one of the issues in our religion that every religion has to address is, are we worshiping God, or are we demanding that God worships our tribe? Because that form of tribalism is really creating a sense of religious nationalism, which is the major threat to religion. And as we find opportunities to address that problem, we find mutual understanding and respect among groups like this. As the rabbi was talking about Maimonides and finding a haven and shelter and even a way to flourish under Muslim rule, we're also reminded by Imam Richdan that Muslims found shelter and a haven and an opportunity to flourish under an African king in Ethiopia. So we cannot survive by ourselves. We can only survive with each other. And creating this bond of mutual understanding and respect is part of appreciating our faith and our country. And seeking truth amidst all these conspiracy theories and falsehoods, to see government officials like Assemblyman Quirk, who is a leader of our state in bringing pluralism to the state and to our country. And lastly, as we witness the horrific developments in Afghanistan and the flaws of our own national federal policy in the war on terror, we have to look at security from a different lens. Right now, national security takes up to $1 trillion a year from our budget. That only serves the interests of governments in geopolitical terms. That does not serve civilian populations. So we have to add to this discourse human security, the security of civilian populations, so that the Afghan people, the Iraqi people, the Syrian people, the Palestinian people, all people who are suffering from occupation and tyranny are not going to be betrayed by our government any longer. So while we appreciate the honor of looking at the contributions of Muslims in America, let us appreciate the opportunity that America presents before us, and let us work for that future, for a great America that represents all of us, all faiths, all peoples, one nation under God. Thank you.
Wow, Brother Salam, thank you. Thank you. This wonderful speech. Again, thank you, Assembly Member Bill Quick, for your leadership and your leadership to pass this resolution back in 2016 and actually start to this movement throughout the California. I appreciate your leadership, and I appreciate Sister Moina and the CARE and all other organizations who have all efforts. So I'm grateful for all our speakers, sponsors, attendees here in Zoom call, and as well as watching us through YouTube live stream. And what I want to say this is, as stated in the resolution, Muslim communities in California, for lasting positive impact they have made and continue to make toward the advancement of the state and the nation. Hope to see you all in the future events. God bless and have a great evening.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
It's been an honor.
Peace and blessings.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
all.
So everyone able to unmute themselves if you want to say just greeting, salam, and good evening.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Good evening.
Welcome salam, Imam Mujahideen.
Peace and blessings, and that was wonderful. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone, for being here. It's wonderful.
Assalamu alaikum,
Peace.
shalom, and peace.
Thank you, Brother Ijaz. Pastor Susan, thank you.
Thank you.
Assembly Member Quick, thank you again. So we'll keep you busy, sir.
All right, I'm honored.
All right.
It's been amazing. Good night, everyone.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Have a great evening, guys. Brother Ijaz, thank you. So was nice to see you.
Same here. So hopefully one of these days we'll see you in person. But